stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the
What's up,
middle.
everybody? This is Trip.
And I'm Jim.
And this is Dead Center, where we try to conversate, not constant hate, and
Get to the point.
And this point is Benjamin Netanyahu
Netanyahoooo.
and his deplorable attitude.
Ooh.
And yeah, I had to hit him with that one time.
Chicka chow.
Anyways, so currently the Attorney General, Department of Justice within Israel, is considering bringing corruption charges, bribery specifically charges against Benjamin Netanyahu for paying out the news network to give him better coverage, essentially.
Ooh, not just paying.
Right.
It was regulatory favors.
Right. Right.
So in other words, something along the lines of using his power as president of Israel to influence which news stations get the most money.
Right. Yeah. He's corrupt. He's been corrupt. He's
It's almost like revoking coverage licensing for your rivals. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, it's a strange thing. Imagine that. So he's what's funny is they're unsure whether to bring the charges against him, even though this is the fourth incident in the last 2 years that it's happened on record, right? They're not sure if they want to bring it against Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Yeah, Prime Minister Netanyahu. Anyways, and it's just and if anybody's wondering, oh, what has he done? Well, I mean, look at the Palestinian state right now, and then ask yourself that you've got people being shot for trying to make their pilgrimage to Jerusalem through Israel. You've got, people living in shambles, literally, in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. You've got 97% of the water that goes to Palestinian areas infested with sewage and salt and things like that. It's just bad for Palestinians. The war hawk that is Benjamin Netanyahu wants it to continue. Look, I'm not anti-Semitical at all. I think that anti-Semites are terrible. But right now, Benjamin Netanyahu is...
Yeah, no, I'm not anti-Semitic either. But I definitely have always had a problem with the way the rest of the world treats Israel.
Versus the rest of the Middle East?
It's like that uncle or cousin that just has a ton of problems, and you know that they're a ticking time bomb, and that eventually all of these skeletons are going to come out of the closet, and the family's not going to go, know how to handle it because they're not going to know whose fault it is or whatever.
That's a little bit of everybody's fault.
And that ultimately is the situation in the metaphor as well.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm proud of my metaphor.
Yeah, you should be. That was nice.
Thank you. But that's definitely how I view him, because it's just one of those things that every time he's in the news, I'm just like, oh no, what did he do now, and how badly are we ignoring it?
Well, we have always ignored the Israel discrepancies or non-humanitarian actions. We've always ignored that. We've always said, well, they're the only democracy, so it's okay. And it's like, what? Really? That's your best shot? They're a democracy, so it's cool. FOH. And if you don't know what that means, you should look it up. Israel they are borderlining the same type of... You don't know what it means, do you?
Hey, man, you didn't have to pay attention to my pondering face.
Fuck out of here.
GTFO, man. Everyone knows what GTFO means.
Whatever, Jim.
FOH?
Yeah, FOH. It's the new GTFO. Get with the times.
These kids, I swear, ruining good things.
Anyways, so, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, right now Israel is borderlining the same humanitarian crises when you see what's going on in Palestine, things like that, as Saudi Arabia or, Syria, for instance. They are borderlining those same issues, the devaluing of human life, the way they treat... There's a good documentary series, The Empire Files, I think, with Abby Martin, and she does a bunch of interviews in downtown Jerusalem, and they're really, really racist. Go figure, right? A bunch of Jews... downtown Jerusalem, like I said, Jews and Arabs should never mix. That would be terrible for Jews. Just constantly, Arabs, are you kidding? No way. There's a whole right-wing subset of politics within that nation that is pushing for the eradication of Arabs within Israel. I'm sorry, right? To cut them off from to take over Palestine completely and get them the hell out of there. Like it's a thing.
And which side of this is Netanyahu?
Well, I don't think he's coming out and saying, yeah, let's get rid of all the Arabs, but he damn sure isn't playing to any other side.
Wait, are you sure he's not coming out and saying that? Or is it just Palestinian?
I would say it's probably just Palestinians that he's saying that about. But I mean, clashes between Jews and Arabs have gone back literally 1,000 years. More than 1,000 years.
I'm going to say.
Since, the inception of Islam, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
that was part of the inception.
Mm-hmm.
Part of their dogma.
And that's a whole, part of their dogma. And that's a whole nother conversation. But the point is, it's kind of like how I felt about Saudi Arabia, right? They are a strategic military point. They are an ally as far as, military trading and weapon sales, things of that nature. And
which we love.
We love that. And they're a democracy in the Middle East and a friend in that area. So we look the other way when they do terrible things.
They're a democracy.
Spicy quotes. Ooh, we haven't had spicy quotes in a while.
Man, that was
spicy quotes. Real spicy.
Golden.
Ghost pepper spicy quotes.
Golden spicy.
Yeah, no doubt. So, it doesn't surprise me that they're considering bringing these charges against him that they actually have. They're just kind of worried about the backlash is what it sounds like.
Well, you have the state police in a country coming out against a prime minister. I almost said dictator. It's close.
It's an apartheid state.
I didn't say dictator. No one heard me say dictator. But this prime minister, this elected prime minister with these super favorable numbers, the state police are coming out and going, hey, someone pay attention to the fact that the reason he has these numbers is because he's pulling strings that he shouldn't be pulling.
Yep.
And I think that is that's indicative of we need to nip this unruly weird cousin uncle in the butt.
Well, we're not going to though. And I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to have any influence from the West. I think we're just going to kind of let them handle it.
I didn't say, whoa. I wasn't saying, like, remove him from power or anything.
No, I
like
know,
that,
but
I mean, like,
no sanctions, no
right.
outspoken. Yeah, I get that.
Right,
and I
that's what I was
agree with
going
that. I'm just saying, we're not going to come out and say that's bad. We're not even going to come out and say that's bad. Like, that's terrible. We're not going to come out and do that. We're not going to even acknowledge it. We're going to look the other way because, we scratch their back, they scratch ours.
Hey, distraction. Look, Saudi Arabia's crown prince is killing people.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they're our friend. Distraction. Look, I ran. So, I mean...
I ran.
Yeah. To the Ayatollahs. Anyways, so...
Gotta get away.
Yeah, really, we should.
I don't mean to... I don't know how many times we've diverged into this discussion, but at the same time, I'm gonna probably go for it again. Charlie Wilson's War made a very good point about screwing up the end game. You get in there, you make a bunch of influential decisions, you dump a bunch of money and or weapons somewhere, and then all of a sudden you leave, and you leave a void of power when you leave because you were kind of running the place while you were there at a time of war. And then you leave, and then war is the only thing that really makes stuff run there, and that's what ultimately fills the void. And if we leave right now, we will also leave a void.
I think if we leave right now, Israel takes over the area, and the colonialization of what's going on right now expands. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is on par. As far as being a dictator, Benjamin Netanyahu is definitely in the same ballpark as Saddam. I think he destroys the region and takes it over if we get the hell out of there. Because, look, think about the 6-Day War. Think about when Israel claimed that area. They didn't have any help. The United States didn't get involved. It was them, and they freaking fought them off. And then the United States started getting involved. We didn't initially give them backing. They took it over and said, see, God wants us here. So, again, I think they know what to do. They know how to handle it, and they are not afraid of anybody surround. That's the big thing.
Isn't there a story about Netanyahu standing up above the battleground on a hill, and he had to... God said, as long as you hold your arms up with that staff, then we'll win the battle. And
that's
then
Joshua, but yeah.
He puts his arms down, and they have to hold his arms up because they're losing again.
Yeah, that's Joshua in the Bible.
I could have sworn that was him. I have a degree, damn it.
Yeah, that's true. So again, I'm saying, yeah, Netanyahu, I think it becomes a Saddam effect. We like him right now. He's cool.
I still think that there is. Look, I agree with you. Okay, first of all, I'm just gonna say I agree with you, but I think that there's a process.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
You'll have someone run on a campaign that basically says bring our boys home or whatever. Like we need to get out of the Middle East and bring our boys home and let them deal with their own stuff. But for whatever reason, we can't do it. We can't do it. And I would love to hear if anyone has any treaties that possibly influence our presence there more than just, our economic and oil-based, incentives. But at the same time,
well, it's not human rights, that's for damn sure, because if it was human rights, we'd be in South Africa helping out and being
Saudi Arabia would not be our friend.
Right, exactly. So let's not I don't my biased opinion is I don't believe any of it. Before you even bring it to me, I'll be willing to talk about it. I'm always open to change, but you got to provide me some solid evidence that proves otherwise of what we've been doing for the last 100 years.
I don't need to dive too far into conspiracy theories here.
Right.
But we have the poppy fields in Afghanistan that for whatever reason we sit there and guard instead of burn. We have our presence in all of these different states over there, and all of our military bases point in those directions for that reason. And yet we still really haven't proven that we are those people's best interests when it comes to trying to. I remember way back in the day we used to say we were liberating these people. Now it's just like no parking lot. And that's I think the two extremes that I hear are pack up and leave and don't spend another dime. Mm-hmm. And that's the left, and it's the economic right, the true economic right. Mm-hmm. And then there's the idea that we need to somehow go out there and just flatten the place and restructure the whole shebang shaboodle. Made that word up.
Yeah, well, it's got to be something of that line. But again, Netanyahu, he might get through it. He might not. I don't really know at this point. Nor would it surprise me either way. What would surprise me is if the people stood up and said, "Get him out of power. He's corrupt." That's what would surprise me.
With his approval ratings, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
And with his clear control, considering that's the base of the claim of the media, those aren't going to fall. And then I believe honestly that we distract ourselves. Because as far as priority goes, I believe Israel's number one and Saudi Arabia's number two.
Mm-hmm. And I would 1,000% agree with that.
And I think that what we're going to do is we're going to distract ourselves with the sanctions on the Crown Prince and our influence of the power shift possibly there. Or we're also going to distract ourselves with this Ukraine-Russia debacle. And once again, all three of the things we're talking about, this Netanyahu claim, this Khashoggi murder, and Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Those three things are all going to be swept under the rug eventually, but the idea that all three of them are happening right now at the same time makes it pretty difficult to distract us. So I'd love to see what ends up happening.
Well, our allies are going to get put on the back burner, and that's kind of where it is. So
it depends on if other allies with a little bit more oomph and influence decide to say they're going to want to do something about it. Like I said, if just like, look, the same thing, and I know we're probably just going to put out the Russia-Ukraine instant episode, and we talked about that, but same kind of breakdown. This is one of those things that if one of the controlling seats of the UN or one of the NATO alliance heads decide this holds water, we need to look into it, and we need to see what we can do about it, then they're going to have a hard time pulling us. But if they pull us, stuff's going to change.
Yep.
For any of these instances.
And we have to be willing to be pulled, and that's kind of where it ends.
And it doesn't look like we are willing to go up against Russia, against Saudi Arabia, or Israel.
Not at the moment. Mm-mm. Well, that's about it for me, man. I'm Trip.
And I'm Jim.
And this is Dead Center, where we try to conversate, not constant hate, and
get to the point.
Love y'all. See y'all next time.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall.